What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin.
And we have an album review for you, and one that I would say is pretty anticipated amongst its fans, because this band is, they've been around forever, and in terms of like Viking-themed metal period, I would say they're kind of the OG band that did it. We are going to go over the latest offering from Unleashed, Fire Upon Your Lands. This comes out on the 15th of August on Napalm Records. This band formed in 1989 in Stockholm, Sweden. Pretty much almost immediately after Johnny Hedlund was essentially yeeted from this band, Nihilus, which became Entombed. He formed this band. This is their 15th album. I've been a fan since their debut album, Where No Life Dwells. Granted, I didn't get into it when it came out in like 1991. I got into it kind of like, I'd say like early to mid 2000s, but I've been a fan of this band for a while. We actually went over the last one, No Sign of Life, which was pretty damn solid. And as much as I love this band, there's like this up and down thing in their discography. Like, when they're on it, they're on it. You get brilliant albums like Odelheim, their debut album. And then you get albums like Warrior and Hell Unleashed, which are decidedly skippable and feature some of the dumbest lyrics I think I've ever heard on an album. But I'll also go as far as saying that I think towards the end of this band's career here, like their latter half, they've put out some of the best material in the band's history. And we've also seen them live too. We saw them in MDF twice now. So, yeah.
Yep. You know me, I'm a late bloomer. You can just call me Jammin' Late Bloomer John. I didn't get into these guys until their last album, No Sign of Life, but we've seen them twice, so, at least I've seen them, right? And at least I was into the last record. But yeah, when I heard this record was coming out, and I said, okay, sure. And I'm glad I was here, because it's pretty solid. I wouldn't call this record a stark departure from the last one. If anything, it's a little bit more fiery.
I would agree, honestly. Yep. Like, this is a little bit more intensity to it than the last one. The riffs are sharp. The, anthems feel biting. There's a lot of just, awesome Viking energy all over this. The opening track, Left 4 Dead, comes in thunderously, big thrashy riffs. There's a lot of like thrashy gallops on here. Very urgent, very epic sounding. One of my favorite things about this band is their lead guitarist and, producer too, Frederick Folkjær, which, man, he makes every song just absolutely awesome with his absolutely amazing lead work. And the fact that he just adds these cool lead melodies on top of like every riff. Mm-hmm. The riffs are big, they're meaty, they're thunderous. They kind of range from, straight up death metal to a little bit more melodic death metal to even like some just straight up groovy chugathons. But he adds so much flavor to them with like these big sweeping epic leads, lots of shreddy stuff, some tapping here and there. Anything to kind of give these songs a little bit more seasoning.
And the guitar tone is so big and beefy and crunchy. It's like the perfect Taco Bell mixture right in your face all the time. And I really like that, because that makes all these songs pop too. Like, you can write riffs all day long. You can make them as intricate as you want or as meat and potatoes as you want. But if you don't have that big commanding guitar tone behind them, I think they kind of falter a little bit. And that's not the case here, because that guitar tone is just punchy and in your face. Riffs all over this record too, and catchy at that. The song The Road to Haefapir, I don't know if that's how you say it, that word, I don't know. I struggled with it. If we weren't to edit any of this out, you'd see me try to pronounce that word like 16 times, and I don't know what it is. But man, right off the rip, hooky start right from the beginning, and then as that riff builds, each part is more catchy. And here's where I thought the riffs started to get a little bit more sinister too. Like in the beginning, you get thrashy riffs and they're in your face and you're like, all right, these are all right. But then it starts to get sinister, and it's marked by these tremolos. And they're not like, real deep tremolos like Death Doom or anything, but they're definitely sinister.
And anthemic too. Like, the March riff where it starts bellowing March. Yeah, like, there's a lot of those moments on here where they just lock onto a good groovy riff, kind of give it a fist-pumping chant, except in your fist you either have a hammer or a mead horn, or maybe the severed head of your enemy, dealer's choice. But it has that, like, anthemic quality, like, the stuff that, Amon Amarth definitely strives for, but I think they kind of lay on it too much. This band has always been better about mixing in a lot of variety, especially in their musical style. Like, you get blast beats, you get D beats, you get, slightly more blackened riffs every now and then. You get, songs that kind of vary in terms of like dynamic range. Like, some are loaded with big transitions and such, going into like more reflective parts to flat out just beat down sections. And some are just straight ahead, just chugathons. And they're all executed again with like a little bit of just fun flair for it, because these guys are pretty much old pros here.
Loyal to the End is a good example of that. That song in the first probably minute and a half changes stylistic approaches. You go from sinister chugs to uptime double beats to blasty to slower tremolo sections, and like that's an example of a song that flows incredibly well and touches on all the bases and really leaves no stone unturned.
Yeah, it builds up really well and builds up before even the vocals get there. There's this whole welling of energy. It gets more dark and sinister, like you get a tribal start, then into the blasts, and then again, tons of these cool riff changes, and every riff change, pretty much every riff in here comes with like some really cool harmonies or even counter harmonies in here. I can't, stress how much that, Frederick Folkare really adds a lot to this. Like his lead work and all the cool melodies on here, it keeps these songs from like running into one another. He has stuff that is just sort of like unique. It kind of gives it its own seasoning. There's some really cool counter harmonies on A Toast to the Fallen that I absolutely love in the blast beat section on there. And then the song that I'm going to struggle pronouncing here, Midyard Half?
Midyard or half.
Midget Yard Barf, got it.
Yep.
Beefy opening riff. Holy shit, this riff is just... Oh, dude, it just kicks you right in the teeth right from the get-go. You throw a little bend in the riff, too, in which, every time there's a bend in a riff, I look over, at John's face to see if he's just got the sour lemons going. Like, oh, that bend hit right.
Yep.
But you get some cool dissonant melodies in there, too. It's an epic song, but it's like, again, like sludgy and dark and just kind of brooding sounding.
And another good example of a song like that, and probably one of my favorites on the record, Hold Your Hammers High, a big old mid-tempo chugathon. To me, it's probably the heaviest song on the record, but not only does it have these big stanky grooves, but again, it's that use of melody. That's what makes up a majority of the atmosphere on this record, is actually really cool melodies or some really cool like dissonant harmony. And Hold Your Hammers High, I tell you what, probably has some of the coolest harmonies and melodies, and it's got this awesome crawling riff in it that I didn't see coming. That song never really speeds up a whole lot, and it stays true to the chug. Yeah.
I love every riff on that song. The build to the chorus, I think, is particularly good. Like, you get these big soaring melodies, and it feels like it's leading you into, like, something grand, something epic, but it leads you right back into the fucking Viking meathead chug that is the chorus. I mean, it's just primal. It drags knuckles, or in this case, armor, swords, whatever.
Again, the head of your enemies.
The head of your enemies. A whole bag full of the heads of your enemies. Like, you got them all with this song. But as much as I love, like, all the cool melodies and, like, the big epic hooks, there's something about just a flat-out meathead stomp that conveys just so much brutality, so much primal energy. Love that song. But I also like the really thrashy, just energetic songs in here. Hail the Varangians, which it took me a second to process what Varangians were, because initially I thought, wait, like Quark from Deep Space Nine? But those are Ferengi, and I'm totally off there.
Nerd.
Varangians are probably a little bit cooler, I imagine. I don't know. But the song is thrashy, it's vibrant, it's fast-paced. It still has like some like creepy lead melodies on it to kind of give it like a darker tinge. But it just packs an energetic punch. Same thing with To My Only Son, which I looked at that song instantly and was like, all right, this is going to be the reflective, not quite ballad, because I don't think Unleashed has ever done a ballad. And honestly, I don't really think they ever should.
No.
But this is the one I expected to be like more melodic, more sullen. Like, this is my gift to you, my son. And
it is not.
Well, no, it is. He gave his son a riffy banger of a song.
Yes.
It's loaded with D beats, syncopated chugs. It gallops into battle. I mean, like, this is the equivalent of like a drunk Viking barreling through a Chuck E. Cheese. Like, for you, my son, I will behead the fucking demon rat for you. Did you know they served beer here, son? It's amazing.
Drink the blood of the rat.
Pretty sure that story ends in handcuffs. But, no, it's just a solid, awesome song. It still has, like, an epic quality to it, but, I mean, I like the fact that, it just kind of felt like it was going to be something else, and it turned out to just be this vicious, outright fucking snarly song.
Now, even though a majority, if not all of these songs whooped ass, there were some minor issues. There are a couple of times throughout these songs where not all of the transitions are the best. A Toast to the Fallen, while that's a great song, the transitions in there are fairly abrupt. Like, they almost stop the momentum dead in its tracks to hit the chorus. And, like, it's not a bad chorus, and the verse before that chorus was pretty solid, but there's a dead stop. And then the same thing happens with War Comes Again. Like, full of jagged transitions. Like, the snare turnover that they used doesn't hit the way I think they want it to.
Yeah, like, it's just this very kind of clunky transition into the chorus riff, which, I mean, the song is just packed gnarly riffs. Like, that song is a thrashy banger, but it hits this, big momentum killer. Like, and it has this cool, like, pre-chorus riff. Like, all right, this is a cool build-up in the chorus, and then it sounds like, I don't know, like the drummer fell down a flight of stairs into that transition. It's like, I don't know how else you would actually even do that transition because it comes so quickly.
If you're not a drummer and you sit behind a kit of drums and you want to do this big massive turnover, but it ends up just being like, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, then your friend tells you to never touch his drums again.
Get out of my house.
Pretty sure that's how Lars' career started. But yeah, there were some like transitions in here that would describe as like hurried or a little bit clunky, like again, like a quick fill and then like, all right, we're off to this next part. And some I will admit, like, they had a good transition, but they didn't hang on to a certain part very long. To My Only Son features a savage breakdown.
Yes, it does.
Big, beefy, broken down riff. Like, it's really good, and it's a solid build-up, but it could have hung out for, like, another measure before going into the next part. But most of the transitions on here are good, which really kind of just makes me wonder about the bad transitions. Like, I feel like those could have been, like, hammered out a little bit more smoothly so it didn't lose any momentum, because the rest of this, I think, is well written. The transitions, for the most part, come at the right time. They're really good about building on the riffs they have, with melodies or a good vocal part. Everyone on here is doing a solid job. Johnny's vocals sound really good. He has his well-enunciated roar. Frederick's lead play, I've already gushed about that enough. The drum work on here is super solid. It's just like a couple of parts in here that just felt, I don't know, like a little bit off.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily even say that they killed the song, because once again, those transitions are the only parts that make you kind of stop for a minute, because everything else in the song is killer. There's not really a bad song on here, and much like Nick was saying about the leads, man, every lead is tasty and ripping and fits the song well. Like, the leads are some of my favorite parts of this album.
Yeah, honestly, like, if Megadeth wasn't retiring, like, I'm reasonably sure, like, Dave would try to poach Frederick on this after hearing some of these leads.
100%.
But overall, honestly, I enjoyed this, and in comparison to the last one, I kind of like this one more. Like, there's more energy to it. It's a little bit more explosive. I think some of the riffs are a little bit more memorable. I'd still say this band is very much a meat and potatoes band, but they know how to break up songs well, make them stand out. Not too much on here ran together, if anything at all, honestly. And these guys know how to write some killer melodic hooks. So overall, I think I'm going to give this 4 stars. In fact, I know I'm going to give it 4 stars because there's 4 stars directly above my head right now. I know.
Wow.
I think this is an improvement over the last one. And again, I'll say it, that this band, I think, has put out some of their best work later on in their career. This pretty much kind of does everything that I want Unleashed to do in an album, but I think it does it with like a little bit more fury. It's got like a little bit more heft and a little bit more energy to it, and you can feel it on here. Songs are well composed. Production, I think, is really solid on here. Yeah, if you're a long-time Unleashed fan, this would go under the bracket of the good ones. This is nowhere near the bad ones. We don't talk about the bad ones unless, we rank them, and then we're definitely going to talk about the bad ones. But yeah, if you're a longtime fan of Unleashed and you still love stuff like, Entombed, Dismember, and I suppose like Amon Amarth, but this is better.
Better.
Definitely better. Yeah, check this album out. Good stuff.
I'm going to have to agree. I'm going to also give it 4 stars. This record was a lot of fun. Very riffy, very catchy. Again, very broken up, too. I like how simplistic this is, but I like that it doesn't run into itself, like, at any given point. Like, it's a great mixture between fast songs and groovy songs and downright mean songs. Everything is really punchy. Even though there were a couple of transition issues that I had, like, it didn't kill it because they're such good riffs and, like, the songs are so well written. All the melodies are catchy. Dude, the lead work is fucking tits. I can't tell you enough how awesome the lead work is. Songs are fairly aggressive. Everything is fist pumping, foot stomping, multiple bags of Viking heads just like smashing together and like making mead out of the blood. I don't know.
And one cheese-eating rat.
Why are the hardest to pronounce songs the most badass? I feel like I run into that in every record we review. There's some word that I can't pronounce, and that's great because the song kicks ass, so I'm going to struggle with it. The mix is great, big crisp lead tone on everything. I don't know. Everything on this record kind of pops. It never really got boring. It's one of those, around every twist and turn was going to be something cool. I will say that sometimes they may abandon parts a little bit too soon. Not even just the breakdown, like there was a part where it just like transitioned over and over and over again to multiple things, and I was like, maybe stick with something. But beyond that, it was really good. I had a great time with this record. Like Nick said, if you've been a long time Unleashed fan, this is probably one of the records you're really going to enjoy. If you like all the other Viking shit, you know, Amon Amarth and, well, Amon Amarth, you're probably really going to like this. Check it out for yourself.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They're only 99 cents, and a Lone Perk is doing a members-only live stream, which we will eventually get around to doing one of those here soon, hopefully. Soon. Memberships are the main way to support the channel, and if you would like to join up, there's a join button down there for you to smite with your Warhammer of braining. I don't know what you called it. But, you know, that's a good name. You could totally use it. But, yeah, just fucking take a whack of that join button. Go for it.
And even if you don't, that's cool, because we do non-members only live streams. Sometimes we have guests. That's really cool. We have discography rankings. I swear to God, we're going to get to At the Gates. It's much like I was telling Nick the other night. If you've been a long time At the Gates fan, you're used to waiting. So, you know, you're just going to have to wait a little bit. Beyond that, we get multiple discussion forums. States of Metal, is it metal, is it not metal? Nick's never-ending collection updates. Just a ton of stuff all the time we do for you guys because we appreciate you being here. In spite of the fact that we may not get things done in a timely fashion, we appreciate that you stick around as if we do. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule. Your patience will be rewarded, I promise. And, yeah, thank you for literally everything you guys do. So, one more big thank you. That'd be like 8 of them now, I think.
Thank you.
We'll let them count them all out. All right. Yep. And we will catch you later.